Alright, it looks like we have some audio issues, so we'll get them corrected for you guys.
Yes.
We're gonna do a janky solution to it where
henyK is gonna. We're getting audio in VLC, but we're not.
Alright, welcome back, guys. Okay, so, yeah, I just said this is the Phantom General fight. It's a kind of hard fight at first if you learn the speedrun. But, we have to attack this dude, like, really quickly and dodge his attacks. Sometimes he blocks, too. It's pretty rare. But you might hear me slashing in the background. I explained quite a few things, so I'm sorry you couldn't hear them, I guess. I'm gonna try to make up for it. But yeah, we just defeated this guy, and there's several new speed tech that you probably saw but couldn't hear me explain and something like that. One of them is like sword canceling. It's basically the same as sword dashing, just that yeah, the cooldown is from the sword and not from the dash itself, obviously. But yeah, here's a really hard puzzle. We have to drag these lava statues towards the middle of the room, so this cutscene begins. And gotta get to the other side. Do the same thing here. And we're almost near the first, near the first Vulgrim shop, pretty much. Where we'll buy an ability, like a mid-air dash thingy, which we will use for some skips in a bit. But yeah, as I said, the first half of the run is pretty movement focused, not too much out of bounds. But I think it's still a really cool part of the run, especially considering how broken it gets afterwards. And here we have the wings, aka Shadow Flight, which allows to glide in mid-air, really cool ability. We need 200 souls now. Souls are the currency of Darksiders. And sometimes you don't get enough souls, it's kind of RNG. So we need 200, and sometimes you can only have like 190 or something. So hopefully we will have enough, otherwise we can just grab a chest. Let me check. Okay, we have enough. I can raise the volume a little bit, I guess. Music need to be...
Yeah, sorry guys for all this.
Speed fixing. Tell me if that's better. Why did I do that? Okay, so first wrong warp here. We're gonna save the game and then load it, which will put us in a different spot, which is faster than going there manually. Alright, so Scalding Gallow. Some jump replenishers here. Not much. We just have to get to the cavern here. We can use this enemy now to dash again, like backwards dash or sidewards dash. I don't know, even like sword dashing. Like we have 4 different dashing techniques in this run, so it's kind of hard to keep track of them all. Yeah, it's not really a wrong warp. Okay, shouldn't have happened. Not really a wrong warp, but we're gonna have some wrong warps or semi-wrong warps later. Guess you get what I mean. This is a bit finicky. I think I'm dashing towards too far towards the right side. We're just gonna abuse some invisible geometry here, and here's Lava Skip. Lava Skip is a skip where we're gonna extend our duration here at the ceiling, which triggers a loading zone and which will put us to choking grounds now. Or it should have put us to choking grounds, but this game is like the mother of inconsistency. So sometimes it does not, which is amazing. But yeah, it now should. Like second try, it always works. And these are the choking grounds. The famous part of the run. If you choke here, then you lose like a minute or something. So I'll try to focus a little bit in a bit. But first we have to trigger another golem gate. So a lot of getting good at this run is just to know, for example, how often you need to dash in which place and to just chain your movements consistently. Come on, Golem Gate. Okay, so I'm gonna load the autosave here because sometimes there's a soft lock that could happen otherwise. And now begins the fun part where we're actually gonna get out of bounds for the first time. This is a house skip or something. I'm gonna get here, align myself, do a mid-air dash, and this will put us here. Not supposed to be here, obviously. And we can grab the first Armageddon chart, which is an endgame item piece, which you're not supposed to collect now. I think, at least. And here we go really out of bounds now. So this is like a series of somewhat precise jumps. Hopefully you can do them first try. Okay, this is good. And we just glide out of bounds here. And this allows us to traverse this area like really fast. Really quickly, I mean. And go here. Also, in case you're sometimes not seeing what I'm doing, or you're wondering what exactly, where exactly I'm going, just look at the minimap. Looking at the minimap myself a lot during this run. Skipping loading zone here. Land on an invisible platform, and we go out of inbounds again. Alright, so that was the first kind of big out of bounds chunk, but later on, pretty much after the first dungeon, the rest of the game will be out of bounds, so enjoy these inbounds sequences as long as you can. Gonna take a small detour here and go to a Valgrim location. I'm gonna activate that for later because we need it to traverse quickly later. It's faster to go here now than to walk all the way later. So going up the staircase, and this almost gets us close to the infamous Autoscroller. First we have to do like one more skip, which is a bit finicky, but not too bad. We shouldn't really miss it though, because that would cost us like 30 seconds. It's like the bridge part. There's like a car thrower mini boss here in a bit. We want to skip. There used to be an older skip using like the chains at the side, which we luckily don't have to do anymore. We can just go here. And get over here, and this skips the trigger. Now we can just glide over here. And now here, this house, normally you're supposed to collect a key and stuff, but that's pretty slow and boring, so we'll just do window skip instead. Find ourselves. And land on here. And bam, we're inside the house without having collected the key or having done the fights and so on. And yeah, it's actually a really hard skip to learn at first. I'm happy that worked first try, so that's nice. And this is the infamous Autoscroller that I mentioned before. It's a roughly 7 minute long part of the run that we unfortunately cannot skip. There's, like, the main speed tech of this game is infinite jumping. Infinite jumping you're gonna see after the next, or the first dungeon actually, after the Autoscroller. It's a technique that allows us, as the name suggests, to jump everywhere and infinitely. And it completely and utterly breaks this game. And we cannot infinite jump before we don't have like two specific items, which are the crossblade, I think it's called, like the boomerang thing. And we also need, obviously, the horn, which we already have. But we cannot collect any other item that gives us the property to do infinite jumps. So we cannot skip this Autoscroller. If we had such an item, we could infinite jump through this Autoscroller, which would be a couple of minutes faster. So it's kind of unlucky that we can't, but yeah. This Autoscroller doesn't really have much to do except, like, you can shoot enemies. I didn't explain it yet. Like, normally you're supposed to either, like, do single, how are they called? Lava shots or whatever, or you can lock onto enemies and cast not. But this is, like, there's a certain glitch you can do here. If you hold the middle mouse button and then press left click, the game just shoots infinitely per frame, something like that, and deals like a ton of damage. It's really OP. You're not supposed to do this in casual, obviously, and it kills pretty much every enemy instantly. First half of this Autoscroller, like first 3 minutes or something, are really pretty boring. Like, even on apocalyptic difficulty, you can't really die. Even if you did it like manually, it's like really easy. But in the cavern part afterwards, we actually have to do something. I'll explain that once we get there. Yeah, this is like the enemies are so slow and they take ages to even do attacks. I wouldn't even need this ability, but it's really convenient. Fun fact, on easy difficulty, you could also almost like just sit through the autoscroller without actually shooting. I think you need to kill a few enemies to not die, but yeah, you can basically grab a coffee and stuff like that. I guess this is kind of cool on your casual playthrough, but yeah, for a speedrun it's really suboptimal. I think people have tried to actually kill all the enemies, and even with the OP laser beam here, it's not possible to kill all enemies in this autoscroller, which is kind of sad. Alright, we're finally getting to the cave. And you can see in my HUD that I'm showing right now, there's a yellow bar, and that's called Wrath Meter. We want to fill up this Wrath Meter, like the second bar, 2/3, to be able to do some abilities later. And to gain Wrath, we have to kill red flies, some angels here at the beginning, and giant bats. For whatever reason, the angels before the cavern don't drop Wrath, but they do here. It's really weird. This game is really inconsistent with a lot of things. But yeah, we want to just memorize where the like the flies or whatever they are, insects spawn, and then use our laser beam to kill them. And yeah, if you do it properly, you can do 2 ground pounds during the garden fight in the first dungeon. If you don't, you lose a couple of seconds, but it's nothing too bad. It's just something to do in here, so some fun or some, yeah, stuff to do, as I said. But if someone actually found like a way to infinite jump before this autoscroller, this would pretty much be the barrier skip of Darksiders, so feel free to have a go at it. You like glitch hunting. Some more flies here. You can memorize the spawns. They're not random, luckily. It's like set swarms of flies. So there's gonna be another giant bat. The bats and the angels give more wrath, so you really don't want to miss them. Otherwise, you sometimes can't even do like a single ground pound. But that should not really happen. You can see he spawns at the top, but normally he's supposed to destroy the bridge, which he had no time here to do, obviously. Oops, I got damaged. Oh my god. So I could try to explain infinite jumping. Infinite jumping is, as I said, the main speed tech. It works by pressing roughly, well, it's 6 to 7 buttons, depending on what button setup you have. At the same time, 3 times roughly per second. That sounds pretty difficult. It makes it easier that we bind some of the inputs to the mouse wheel. So we can basically just scroll up and down, but it's still like a very hard to coordinate, like, speed tech where you really need to get the muscle memory down, and at the beginning you will be really slow. And if you just continue grinding, learning this run, and yeah, do it over and over again, you'll gradually get faster. It's kind of the same with sword canceling, which is really slow as well at the beginning. But while sword canceling, it sounds like mashing, but it's not. Same with like infinite jumping. And it basically works by jumping, swapping your gear, then doing that like 3 times in a row. I can't really explain it. Like, there are people other than me who are better at explaining it, but it's yeah, it's a really complicated tech in terms of how it actually works, I guess. But what it does is it just, normally you're obviously not supposed to do more than 2 jumps, but it kind of just resets the jump counter. Okay, let me check. We should be fine on Wrath, I think. There's gonna be some more swarms here. Red flies. I think we're good. So this is almost the end of the autoscroller. Just to get out of this cavern here. And that brings us to the first dungeon, which is Twilight Cathedral. And enjoy Twilight Cathedral, or enjoy this dungeon as long as you can, because the first half is gonna be pretty much inbounds, the normal route. And afterwards, after we get the crossblade, it's gonna be out of bounds, and we'll not see much of the other dungeons as well. So just, yeah, enjoy. If you don't like out of bounds, this is your time to stop the stream, I guess. This Darksiders is the definition of like an out of bounds speedrun. But yeah, enemies around, so we're just gonna do the second fastest dashing technique here, which is still pretty fast, I guess.
Guess she wasn't up for having visitors today.
And yeah, dungeons, mini bosses, items, and so on. You can see it even if you haven't played this game. It's quite a lot like Zelda. Some people say it's like Zelda meets God of War and maybe one or two other games. But yeah, it borrows a lot of elements from the Zelda series for sure. But it does it in a good way, at least. So this is Tiamat. Tiamat is the boss of this dungeon. And she's... it's a pretty interesting boss fight where we're gonna use a lot of sword cancelling. First we have to obviously get the item and get to the boss. You can see we're supposed to go up here, and we're actually doing that the casual route, or almost the casual route. At the end there's a jump that I think you're not supposed to do casually. So this is Garden Fight. Garden Fight is one of the last big remaining fights that we're actually gonna do yeah, in a semi-normal way. Lure these enemies together, do a ground pound. Now, kill these with a finishing move, because that's faster. Gonna be some spawns here. This fight is pretty well coordinated to do it quickly. If the red button is over their heads, or the red indicator, then that means you can finish them off. Takes like 13 hits before. And now this is the second part of the fight. I need to like focus a little bit to attack this guy quickly now. Ah, I failed it. Like ideally you wanna okay. Ideally you wanna finish him off like before the bats attack you, to be able to do everything in time, but it's no big time loss. Come on. The bats are kind of annoying, so you really want to hit them with a ground pound. I don't know how the ability was called, but also interesting thing you can do here. Hopefully it works. You can open doors backwards. It doesn't really save much time. Ah, come on. Yeah. So that was fast bomb. It's a somewhat risky strat if you learn the run, so you probably shouldn't do it at first. But it's pretty cool. Saves like 3 to 4 seconds. You attack the okay. You attack the bombs, and then you just throw them really quickly. Like you have to pick them up and throw them really quickly. Same thing here. Open the door. Okay, so we get over here. Do fast bump again. This is really risky in this place because you can easily get thrown off. Like if you do it wrong, you get thrown off the balcony by the explosion, and you don't want that to happen. You have to do like a whole circle or whole loop around again, which costs about a minute. But that worked first try, so that's nice. And this was the inbounds part. Now we're getting our beloved crossblade, and we can infinite jump. So infinite jumping at first is kind of slow, because we only have the horn. The pistol, for whatever reason, I think it's the animation length, makes it faster later. Much more fun and convenient to do. So yeah, normally you're supposed to fight enemies here, but that's slow. So that was the first instance of infinite jumping. Enemies here, which obviously are not supposed to be loaded. You can do the sidewards, forwards, different directions. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but I'm pressing like 7 buttons 3 times a second. Okay. If you drop the inputs, it's kind of bad. We hit a trigger, a loading zone here. Come on, where is it? There it is. And this puts us, like, this spawns the boss room and the area around it, and this puts us to Tiamat. Alright, so first real boss fight. I mean, Straga kind of is a boss fight, but Tiamat, you actually have to do something to beat her, I guess. First of all, we have to throw some bombs at her. Like, we have to enlighten the bombs and then throw them at her. For strange reasons, you cannot hit them with the sword here. Like, that won't make them blow up. But we can just use these fires here at the side of the arena. And 2 bombs should be enough to bring her on the ground. Then we have to sword attack her a couple of times. And then she's gonna do some diving around the arena. Not much we can do in the meanwhile, just have to wait. So she's gonna do 3 dives now. We can just stand at the side to not get hit. Let's see where she goes. Okay, there she goes, so we just go here. And afterwards we want to hit her with a bomb again. One more time. Now we take this bomb. She didn't align. So we have to enlighten the bomb ourselves. Sometimes she aligns properly, so you don't have to use the boomerang here. Now begins the fun part. It's sword canceling time. You have to sword cancel a lot, dodge her attacks, and do the same thing over and over again. You really want to dodge her attacks though, because if you don't, you can get stun locked and die. If you're like, if you really get hit often, or you can just get thrown around and that costs a lot of time. Also, I'm not sure, you probably didn't hear it, but what I'm doing right now is not meshing. It's like actually really precisely timed inputs. Because if you would mesh, you would not, like, it wouldn't work. You can try that yourself. It's just 2 inputs that you repeat over and over again, but with a really tight rhythm. Alright, so that's Tiamat done. First boss gone. Also, for whatever reason, we did not get the glitch here. Normally there's a glitch happening where war is invisible. It didn't happen here, interesting. Alright, so gonna get through this snake pit, snake maze. I don't know how they're actually called. But we're just gonna infinite jump over to the exit. Trigger the cutscene, and we're at Scolding Gallow again. Here we are basically, from this point on, this speedrun is gonna be loading zone simulator. Since we can now basically go everywhere, what we want to do is get to the next loading zone as quickly as possible. Or we have to figure out where to go and trigger the loading zones in a certain pattern. Obviously, routing of this game has already done, so it's just a matter of actually doing the stuff. But yeah, you can see we're out of bounds, and I'm gonna hit loading zone very soon. Gonna go out of aim mode. Because if you are in aim mode, the game has like a 50-50% crashing when you trigger a loading zone. Oh, come on. There's gonna be a Valgrim location that we want to trigger here. Also, another reminder, look at the minimap. I'm looking constantly at the minimap. It's like you would really get lost otherwise. Now, conveniently enough, there's water underneath the map, or the water extends rather. And use this to traverse this part. And now we want to trigger another loading zone here. There's a golem door, so we want to not use our horn, but we want to instead jump and just do some attacks there. The crystal spawns in, and that means we hit the loading zone. If you fall down in this part, it's really annoying. You can recover, but it costs a lot of time if you miss, if you like drop some inputs. So you really don't want that to happen. That was kind of scary. I was in aim mode. The game could have crashed there. So you see, the background is going black whenever I hit a loading zone. That is kind of an indicator that you did things right. And we'll forward another one. So a huge part of like learning this run obviously is the speed tech itself. The other part is just remembering the route. It can be rather hard at first, but you get used to it. It's not too bad. And you have the minimap, as I said. Going here is another loading zone, and now comes an interesting like skip. There's some doors. I'm gonna stand here, align myself, because there's a loading zone far back. You have to know, like, doors are actually loaded in all the time, even if the surrounding area is not loaded. So we can use those to align ourselves, then just dash backwards. And we should hit a loading zone very soon. And here's the entrance, like here, we're gonna get inbounds again. And this is actually a dungeon, in case you didn't know. This is like the Hollows dungeon. I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't recognize that. That it's a dungeon, I mean. But yeah, our next item, which is, I forgot how it's called. Like, fist or something. Blue fist, blue crystal fist, I don't know. But yeah. This is useful for destroying crystals, obviously, and we will use it mostly to destroy crystals in the boss room. But we can just go out of bounds here again, skip the mini-boss that you're supposed to fight here and stuff like that. So as I think I didn't promise too much when I said, like, this game is gonna get really insanely broken. Where was it? So coming up here is another jump with a lineup. Fist jump, it's called. Look at my HUD. Do right dashes now. Hope that lineup was right. Looked a bit off, but we'll see soon enough on the minimap. Yeah, this looks good, I think. There's a door to the far right. When we hit that, yeah, there it is. Now we go left again. And I'm always going out of aim mode, as I said, otherwise we could crash the game like literally everywhere. Some locations it's more prone to crashing. Not really sure if this also happens in casual mode, like if you play through it casually, but yeah. There's a loading zone down here, and we're almost at second boss, or third boss, however you want to see it, which is the Griever. Kind of funny fight, because you'll see why in a bit. Gonna enter this arena backwards, pretty much. Ah, come on. Gonna drop down here. You can get inbounds here. Destroy these crystals. Normally you're supposed to come in here from the other side and only destroy these crystals during the fight. But since we can do it now, we can skip a couple of phases of the fight, which is really nice and makes the fight go by really quickly. So one more crystal here. Gonna grab the card, throw it into him. Or her, I think. Yeah, I think it's her. Now she's gonna throw the card back. Come on. And we quickly have to get to her and destroy the crystal. We can't get too close, otherwise she will push the card back. And now we can just hold this card here, and when the cutscene starts, we're gonna hold the right mouse button, which will allow us to immediately after the cutscene re-grab the card and throw it back into her. And this way we can finish her pretty much in a one cycle. We're using the Chaos form here because it deals like so much damage, obviously. To attack the weak point. And that's second dungeon done, the Hollows. So now we're gonna get the gun. Gun is really nice, as I said before, because the gun allows us to do faster infinite jumps and much more easy infinite jumps. And also we're gonna go into the water here because it's a marathon run, and marathon runs are always good runs. Obviously, it's kind of a meme in the community, but yeah. Now we got the pistol, which also gives us another dashing technique, which is gun dashing. It's like the fastest on ground dashing technique. Okay, so we have to buy a potion here, possession potion, to be able to do to use the Chaos form later again, and we're going to Scalding Gallow. Now our next goal is the Ashlands dungeon. First we have to rebind some stuff. I was afraid the game would crash there for a second. Never know with Darksiders. And we're getting out of bounds in a second again, no worries. Just gonna get up here, trigger the loading zone. And make our way over here. With gun dashes, you have to kind of be careful not to do them too early or too late, otherwise you might either lose time or just get stuck on the ground sometimes. Yeah. Also, this is Death Blessing, late game item we're casually picking up now. It allows us to go to deal much more damage and also go inbounds here. Really nice, because we need to go inbounds to get to the Ashlands. And Death Blessing, you're normally supposed to get, I think, really at the end of the game or something. And it's gonna be really useful for us since we don't level up our sword very much. But it deals so much damage that we don't really need to level up our sword anyway. And we can also sword cancel. Yeah.
I'd like to give a quick thank you to Elijah and all his viewers for the 1.2k host.
Oh, wow. Thanks. Really appreciate it. Okay, so we triggered another Valgrim location. Gonna come back later here to collect all the crystal shards. So basically I'm looking the whole time at the minimap. I think I mentioned that, but it's still, if you're not familiar with this run, it's probably something you're wondering, like how the heck is this guy like finding his way through here. And here's a tunnel which we have to get through. There's an enemy at the end which we need to shoot to not get eaten. And in the loading zone. Sometimes the loading zones have like loading time, sometimes they don't. Kinda weird. After we triggered this Valgrim location, we're gonna get to the Ashlands dungeon. And normally here you're supposed to use like the I think it's Chronomancer ability, or like Ruin the Horse, which we'll get later. But we can just gun dash across the sand. So like Stygian can't eat us. Normally he would eat us if we stayed too long on the sand. Yeah, this way. We're just safe. Also, for whatever reason, shooting at the apex of your jump, or of a jump replenisher jump, makes you go a little bit higher even. And this is probably the longest infinite jump section of the game, so if you have some more donations, feel free to read them.
We currently do not have any new donations. I'll just remind everyone that everything we raise today will be donated towards the ESA Summer 2019 charity of choice. We've got a bunch of interesting goals and bid wars going on at the moment. If you want to take a look, the link will be in the chat and also in the description. In the Twitch bio, as it were.
Alright, there's a couple of loading zones here. I'm also navigating invisible walls. But we should be out very soon. And we're on our way to the horse arena fight. It's like a several phases long arena fight. And really looking forward to that because it's probably my favorite part of the run. I think a lot of casual players also really enjoyed this. So it's really cool to look at, I guess. Almost there. And drop down in this cutscene. And we're just gonna go into the arena. Some really hard fights here going on, so I need to focus a little bit. But yeah, so what is happening here? We triggered some loading zones in such a way that the arena, like the geometry wasn't loaded, but the enemies, like the entities, actually were loaded. And since the enemies die when they fall down, we can abuse this to get quickly rid of them, except for the last phase where we need to do like a finishing move. We're gonna go inbounds again by saving and loading in a bit, but there's also some RNG, linked to this, unfortunately, which can cost us about a minute, so hopefully we get good RNG. These car throws fall down, and two need to fall down. Sometimes one gets stuck in midair. We're gonna see in a little bit. So I'm infinite jumping up now. Now looking at the sky to see if the car throws actually fall down. Like the first one always falls down. There he is. Second one should appear now if... Okay, I think we're lucky. Wow, nice. It's like a, I think, 40% chance that the second one doesn't fall down. Then you would have to do like the second last phase of the arena fight as well. But yeah, gonna just infinite jump up here until he gets triggered. And then once the horns happen, come on. Once he disappears, we can save load and we're inbounds again at the last part of the arena fight, last phase. Cutscene will confirm that everything went right. Yep. Now here we have to fight this dude on the horse. Some sword cancelling going on. Legend says you can do this guy like in a one cycle. Shoutouts to Kuro. I have no idea how that works, like how fast you need to mesh to do that. Or to sword cancel mesh, I mean. But yeah. So we're also gonna use the Chaos Form here, because the Chaos Form, obviously... Oh, we also, by the way, gave that dude his sword back. No, we're just gonna kill him. Rip. Chaos Form is obviously much OP. And this is ruin our horse. Okay. Have to attack the horse a few times, and now we should be able to acquire the item of this dungeon. Right, there we go. We're gonna save load. That's quicker than fighting, or than infant jumping rather, over the top of the gate. It actually despawns the enemies and opens the gate. And Ruin is actually the fastest way of transportation on like even ground. But you cannot summon Ruin everywhere, so that's you kind of want to use the horse wherever you can. And another place you want to gun dash, pretty much. Or infinite jump if you have to go out of bounds. Also, we're just jumping up here during the cutscene, because this game is very good. Sometimes the camera gets really wonky if we do things like that. So I hope I triggered the loading zone here right. This loading zone is really finicky. Okay, I think I did. If you trigger it wrong, the boss room won't load, so you have to go back. It's really annoying. And these holds, conveniently enough, are placed in such a way that we can get back inbounds here and actually go to the boss of the Ashlands. The boss is the Stygian. But before we can actually fight him, we need to fight his minions. Like, he's still in chains. And you can actually optimize this pretty well, like with enough practice. You need to kind of run in circles in such a way that you can attack the most or a lot of enemies with one swing. First, you need to level up the sword, and after that, like, the second phase, or the real fight begins. That was actually pretty decent, nice. This fight is pretty much no RNG if you do it right. If you move right, Stygian will always consistently move as well. We'll see how this goes. Okay, I was slightly off there. It's no big deal though, cost like 2 seconds. We want to get hit first, and then we have to destroy his mask. Appear here. And the mask takes like 12 hits or something. Come on, I think not all hit. And I think like, I kind of want to chill a little bit now. Ashlands were kind of exhausting. Oops, okay, that was not what I wanted to do, but it's fine. We have time here anyway. So here in this part of the fight, Stygian spawns several worms, and normally you would have to fight these worms normally on the ground on the horse, but what we can do here is just stand up here, and conveniently the worms die when they hit the XY coordinate. And they obviously hit the XY coordinate when they go underneath here. So that's what we're abusing, and this is kind of the fastest and most convenient way to do this part of the fight. Once the HUD appears again, we have to get back on the horse and prepare for the next part. Don't want to mess this up every second. We're just gonna shoot the Stygian here, all cycling around him. We don't want to get too close, otherwise he might try to attack us. We also don't want to go too far, otherwise he would bury in the sand. It's the first part. Now we have to get hit by him 3 times. Most casual players don't know that you cannot do this faster than like just getting hit 3 times. It's kind of weird, but yeah, this game works like that. I'm just gonna wait here. After the 3rd time we can shoot him again.
We've got 2 quick donations.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
We have a $77 donation from Anonymous.
Wow, nice.
Thank you very much for that. And we have a $5 donation from Meander5 that says there should be an incentive for henyK to buy a new keyboard after this run.
Fun fact, I have 2 keyboards of this kind. I didn't mention that, but this game, like this speedrun, doesn't really work well with mechanical keyboards for whatever reason. So most of the Darksiders 1 runners actually use like a really cheap membrane keyboard. Don't want to advertise here, but yeah, it's pretty much the same model. You can do it with other ones, but it's like so cheap and it just works. And I've actually got 2 of those just in case. But yeah, that's the Stygian fight done. We're actually like, we're destroying the hearts of the bosses for Samuel. Just to mention the story a little bit. And yeah, that's like the 3rd heart. We're buying another possession potion for later. And we're going to the Ashlands, where we'll take a little detour, or actually not a detour, but a different path, which will get us to the last dungeon, or the last normal dungeon. And Ashlands in the maze here, we're actually doing this safe load thing again, which will get us out here quickly. It doesn't work on every snake maze, but it works on some. So this time we're going left here again, but towards a bridge on this side. And normally you're supposed to cross this, I don't know, with some other way. I'm not sure if it was with the like portal thingy. It was called Void Walker, but I think you get that later. I don't know. We're just gonna infinite jump over because we can. And we can now summon Ruin again. And the stamina of Ruin is actually gonna run out in a little bit, but we can just do something here. We can dash into a wall, then unmount, jump, and remount, and that will give us the stamina back immediately without having to remount the horse from the sand, which would be kind of slow. Now we're almost at Iron Canopy, the last regular dungeon, where we're gonna fight Silitha. And in this dungeon, the problem is, like, we don't need the item, but we don't technically need it, or how should I say it? We don't need it to do anything later in the game, but we needed to actually fight the boss, because if we just went to the boss room, Silitha would be there, but we couldn't fight her because the AI would be dead and she wouldn't take any damage. So we kind of have to get this annoying item. To do that, we get to the mini boss room here. And this is the kind of hookshot of Zelda. Like, as I said, this game borrows a lot of elements from Zelda. And this item is actually fairly annoying for the speedrun, because if you drop your inputs for the infinite jump, then you will get like a really long chain animation, so you really want to avoid that. It's also called getting chained. Now we're just gonna escape this mini-boss area. And go to the boss room. Okay, okay, camera. Everything's fine. I don't know what that was. Looking at the minimap again, I can see the door now, the green door. That was the second chain. And opening this door, like opening any door, loads the area surrounding it, so this is really convenient. And this is Silitha. Pretty cool fight actually, but at the beginning pretty hard to optimize. And it's also a little bit of RNG that comes into play here, unfortunately. She's gonna teleport around the arena at several phases. She's gonna increase the amount of teleports gradually, but you definitely always wanna do some sword cancel damage here. Otherwise you will get more phases, or more cycles rather. Oh god. Okay, you can easily dodge her attack, so that's not too bad, but you wanna quickly chain towards her, then do some attacks on the ground. And like the teleporting now in the last phase here can lose like 10 to 15 seconds, I'd say. Oh, yeah, another instance of RNG in a speedrun, unfortunately. Not too bad, 15 seconds compared to some other games, but yeah, still. Like, she teleported now twice, I think. Okay, that's actually not too bad. And this should finish off this phase. Now we'll have to fight her in the second phase. But that's slow, so we just infinite jump up there and use the chain to, yeah, get her off the ceiling. And conveniently enough, there's a spike placed underneath the arena. What a surprise. Oh yeah, that's the spider done. And now all we have to do is do the last final dungeon, collect a lot of shards, like a lot of useless items to stretch out the game.
Samael will be waiting for the last heart.
And then do the final boss.
Live long enough.
Yo, Annie, can I drop in with a quick donation?
Of course.
Heck yeah, I love that sound of your keyboard, by the way. I've watched you use that many times. I know how it looks. So
Pretty comfy ASMR.
Yes. So yeah, we have $25 by Sight of Dawn, who says paying to kill the birds in Darksiders.
Very good.
Yes.
I approve of
pretty
that.
good. And I want to also announce that after only 5 hours of stream, we've already raised more than $500, which was our basic
Wow.
goal.
That's insane.
Absolutely insane, yeah.
We still have the whole weekend ahead of us, so.
Yeah, we have the whole weekend until Sunday evening. But thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the rest.
Okay, so I recovered there. Game's FPS in this area are really wonky, which affects infinite jumps, and if you fall down there and land on a kill plane, then you lose quite a bit of time, so luckily I was able to recover. Oh god. So also another quirky thing about this game or this engine is that if it kind of buffers inputs. So if you press the mount button twice in a row, it will just mount and unmount, or the other way around. It's just Darksiders things, I guess. Okay, so we need to get to Scolding Gallow, deliver all the hearts, or I don't even know. Like, don't blame me, I have not played this game casually. I know I should, but yeah, haven't found time yet. Too busy speedrunning, obviously. So yeah, this is Samuel, which who gave us like the goal of actually going to the dungeons, finding the bosses, and destroying them. We now did what he told us to. And we're getting to another maze now, and now we have like a really long infinite jump section here. If there are some donations, feel free to read them in the meanwhile. Basically all we have to do is just jump up here.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, currently we have none, but kill the birds, I guess.
That's a good plan. I approve of that. It's kind of the kill and save the animals of Darksiders.
But I have a question for you, henyK.
Yes.
People in chat ask, how did you end up not playing a game casually before speedrunning?
It's actually a funny story. Like, this game, or this, like, 2 years ago, or 1.5 years ago, the former world record holder Aftermath, who's been around for a really long time, I also ran this game at a couple of big marathons. He put up a challenge, a big bounty challenge for this game. And yeah, I was kinda interested in that. So I thought like, okay, let's not waste time playing it casually. Just start learning the speedrun immediately, because those 7 hours, obviously, with now over 600 hours spent with this game, totally would have mattered. Yeah, that's why I did not play this game casually. But yeah, I know, I really know I should.
I can relate. I've done many runs of Fallout New Vegas, but I've actually never completed it casually, and or even played it for more than 10 minutes, so...
Okay, so here's a loading zone that for whatever reason I'm not hitting. Oh, there it is. So this is the Black Throne, the final dungeon of the game. Just gonna get over here and go to Straga, which is the boss. Okay, we have to get out here another way. We have met Straga before. This time he's stronger and he's back, but he won't stand a chance. Oh god. I think we're fine. Okay, I need to focus a little bit. Okay. Oh god, we're getting chained so often. Oh, okay, I messed up. My bad. So what I was trying to do there was get on the platform on his head. Unfortunately, that did not work because I got chained like 3 or 4 times. It was actually fairly hard to commentate and play at the same time, I just noticed again. But yeah, so far the run has been pretty decent, so I'm kind of happy. But yeah, we want to get on the platform on his head. Normally you're supposed to use the portal gun to get up here. I don't know why he's hitting me like that. He's not supposed to hit me up there. Okay. Okay, I think this should work. You can cancel his attack like that. And now we're on the platform. We want to run in a certain way into the corner and go from left to right to actually emulate the way you would get up here normally using the portal gun, which I think was called Void Walker. Yeah. And by doing that, his weak point spawns and we can attack his weak point and then we can attack Straga himself. So yeah, now come 2 fights. First off, some enemies here, some regular enemies. And we're gonna use the Chaos Form here again. These enemies have random spawns, so that's kind of annoying, but you can try to group them up as good as possible and hit multiple at the same time. Also, the combination I'm doing is left, left, right click, which is faster than left, right click, left click. I don't know why exactly. Gotta have to do with like the damage you do and the animations and so on. So finishing them off with a finisher move again. Also, using the finisher move grants you invincibility for a second, so that's nice. Now we just hover over like his head for a little bit until he has done his 2 swings with the club. We get on this platform again, do the same process over again. If you went from right to left, for example, in the corner, instead of going from left to right, like the weak point would not be spawning. So it's something you should know if you learn this game. There's actually, like, I will come to that later, there's a really good tutorial by Aftermath, video tutorial and written tutorial, which you should check out if you should be interested in picking up this speed game. Now we transform again into the Chaos Form. Enemies kinda got thrown pretty far. I don't even know where they are. What the hell? What the heck, actually? Let's see if we can kill one more at least. Using the invincibility frames here again. Okay, this fight was pretty bad, I have to agree. I have to admit. But that's fine. Last attacks of him. And that finishes off Straga. Second time, now he's dead. Finally gone for good. And we will get to Eden, which is the place where the angels live.
He came to me after his...
Don't ask me for story details, please. But we're supposed to, like, fight ourselves here, pretty much. but we're not gonna do that, like, not gonna face ourselves. This is also kind of borrowed from Zelda. Shadow Link fight. So we're getting an item here that allows us to actually grab the Armageddon shards. It's a mask, which will first get us back here to the arena, and afterwards just make the the places where you can get the Armageddon shards actually like accessible. Here, not gonna fight ourselves again. I've said that already. Game is like a bit confused, I guess. So the Armageddon shards, from what I heard casually, are kind of annoying to find. Oh god, okay. It's kind of like in Wind Waker or something, where you have to find the Triforce thingies. But yeah, since we know where they are and since we can infinite jump, it's not too bad. Okay. Hope we can make it over the bridge in time. Oh god. Okay, need to do this differently. Yeah, now we're revisiting locations, and for that reason we actually triggered the Valgrim warps. Because otherwise we would need to traverse like really long parts by feet or ruin and so on. And this way we can just go there instantly. So first up is Ashlands. Gonna abuse the save load again. Also, if you don't do the save load, there's a chance that the game will kind of not track your progress here in semi-soft lock. Really weird. Has only happened to me once, but I was really confused when that happened. So, third time's Ashlands. This time we're going even further to the left here. And the shard is up here in the mountains. Gotta jump up here. Use our mask, and yeah, we got the second chart. Now we have to wait until the quest log marker item screen, whatever, appears. Otherwise the game wouldn't be like counted as being in our inventory. But this way we can teleport back here. It's in our inventory, and we can go to the next location. Also, could Valgrim please spawn? Alright, Dry Road. Dry Road is a bit finicky to get. But first we have to get through this maze anyway. Ideally you want to land right in the teleporters. Saves a bit of time. And I'm going around here and pretty high. Might be too high. Hopefully this will work. No! Oh my god, I kind of messed up there. It's fine though. There's a fight. Not gonna do the fight, just get out of the arena. I was trying to skip the fight. But yeah. So think we have to go back now manually without using the autosave. A little time loss, it's fine. And this brings us to Drowned Pass, and yeah, since we got some donations for the incentive that wasn't even like a bid war, but got a donation for Kill the Birds, so I'm just gonna kill the birds. It's like really obvious where the shard is. can see the birds there. Oh no, is one flying away? Nope. Good birds. So that should leave us with 2 more shards to get. One at Crossroads, which is also fairly easy to find. And there's something cool you can do here. Hopefully I can show it off. Yeah, you can trigger the warp from underneath the platform because it extends. I think that's like really cool. It only works there for whatever reason. Right, now we have to get up here and there's the shard. And that brings us to the last location, Broken Stair. Here we can use the safe load glitch again. And this one is the hardest shard to get, at least in a speedrun, because there's lots of kill planes, invisible walls and so on. You kind of need to be really careful. Also, if you get too close, for example, to this house, then you trigger an autosave that you don't want. So I'm gonna stay a little bit away. And here's the final shard, which we can now use to go to the blacksmith and finally forge our sword. I think we got all right. I hope we did. It kind of showed something there. Have I missed one? Let me check. Nope, we're fine. The game is just confused. Yeah, Anvil's Fort is the place to go now. One last maze here. So unfortunately, there's no way to go to the final boss and final dungeon without doing all the other dungeons before. The game is kind of hard checking whether you killed the bosses and not even spawning things before, I think. But yeah, the route itself of the speedrun is fairly optimized, except for maybe stuff finding Autoscroller skip or so. But yeah, this game is out for a lot of years now, so people have put a lot of work into routing it, and yeah, I think it's a really cool speedrun. It's very technical, pretty hard to learn, decently hard to master, I'd say, but it's really fun. I really have to thank Aftermath again for doing the bounty challenge, otherwise I probably would have never even picked this game up, and I've been enjoying my time with it, so yeah. Last save load of the run. We're going straight to the boss. One last ride with our horse through the desert. And here's a cool glitch that we're gonna do, which unfortunately doesn't work in any other place. If you unmount and mount again near a wall while fully ramming into it, you can just scale the wall instantly. The game can just teleport you upwards. And this brings us to the final boss fight, aka Abaddon, aka the Destroyer. So what we want to do here in the first part is just slash him whenever he gets on his feet again. He's gonna do that in several different patterns. First one is really easy, you have to slash him twice. And then begins the counting part. Also, what most people don't know is that attacking him here like this, despite it showing a damage or a hit indicator, doesn't do any damage and doesn't speed up anything. And now begins the counting part, which I'm really bad at, because for whatever reason I can't count to 2, 1, 1, 3. So that was one. He's gonna dive down twice and slash him. He's gonna go to the ground and then he's gonna dive again, but this time he's only gonna dive once. So you wanna always like avoid him, avoid his dives. Could also be on your horse here, but yeah, that would be harder and no fun, obviously. Got him. If you miss one of the slashes, you kind of need to use the horse to be able to hit him properly, I think. That was one. One again, and now we can get on our horse so we can ride around the arena, because we need to finish Abaddon, or the first part. I think the first part is the Destroyer. We need to finish the dragon with finishing move. Just gotta avoid 3 dashes, or 3 dives rather. Last one coming now. Gonna unmount and not get too close to him because that would make him do another loop through the arena. Now comes the hardest part of this fight, meshing E, where actually you don't even really have to mesh. You just press the button like 2 or 3 times. Unless the game does not recognize my inputs. Alright. So yeah, also there's a like, I would say 30% chance of the game crashing now, which has happened in record attempts before. It's pretty not hilarious. But I think it did not crash. Nope. It hasn't crashed in a while. I shouldn't say that. It's gonna happen the next time I'm on a good PB pace. But yeah, this is Abaddon. You have to attack him. Just gonna do some sword cancelling. Dodge his attacks. This is split into 3 parts. The first part is really easy. Only the third part is actually somewhat hard because you have to remember to not attack too early. Yeah, now he's gonna teleport himself over to a certain spot and he's gonna throw rocks at us. And luckily these 2 pillars have insanely large hitboxes, so the rocks will never hit us. We can just stand here and chill. Dodge his attack. Attack again. I can't see the time right now. I might be like a little bit overestimate. But yeah, same thing again, like 3rd phase now, 3rd part. You don't want to get hit here, otherwise he'll do a lot of damage. Don't attack now, just wait until he grabs his sword, then you can attack. And dodge his attacks. Now wait again. And this will finish the fight now. The last attacks here. So time is after the 3rd strike, once the cutscene begins, or the 4th strike rather. Time! So yeah, that's Darksiders Any %. I don't know the time. What is the time?
henyK, I'm so disappointed in you. You're about 20 seconds overestimated.
Seriously? Oh my god.
Actually 12. Okay, now stop. So you're 12 seconds overestimate. Unfortunately, we have to ban you from further events.
Oh dang. Too bad.
It's too bad, but it was not fun at all to have you at this. Went overestimate.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, I mean, I did my best.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Alright. So yeah, that's Darksiders Any %. Thanks for having me, I guess, for the last time. I mean, this at least was not 4 minutes overestimate like at SpeedCon, but well, yeah. So I just want to say or do some quick shoutouts to the community. Small but nice Darksiders 1 speedrun community. I want to give some shoutouts, of course, to Aftermath, who's the former world record holder who put up the bounty challenge, without which I would never have picked up this game, probably. Really nice guy. Then give some shoutouts to Inkalex, Kapau, German runners, obviously also Kuro, who's also, I think, retired German runner. And yeah, a lot of more people whose name I probably won't even remember right now because I'm really tired. But yeah, thanks guys, you're amazing. And if you want to learn this run, there's as I said before, a really good tutorial series which you can find on Speed Demos Archive, I think it's linked there, and on Aftermath's YouTube channel. So yeah, also feel free to join our Discord. It's a really nice community going on there. So thanks for having me. Have a good night and a lot of fun with the rest of the marathon. Bye bye.